Good afternoon. My name is Bajan Thompson. I'm the Managing Director of Note Surprise, and we are going to be ready to begin. And what I would like to do is just want to open in a word of prayer. Lord, we just thank you for this opportunity that we can come here together and discuss music and mental health. Lord, we know that there are so many situations that's happening, not only in Barbados, around the world, and our sanity is being questioned. Lord, just hope that this discussion will bring a lot of things to light, that we can be in a better mental state of health. Lord, thank you. In your name I pray. Amen. Yes. I just want to welcome all of you to this panel discussion on music and mental health. And I will be introducing the MC in a couple minutes, but I just want to take this opportunity for a few minutes to talk to you about our scholarship program. Over the years, we have actually churches sponsoring persons, then individuals seeing the need for either someone in their class or in their community to do music lessons, and they have paid for them. And I just want to bring an example for you. We've had a young man, his name is Kamal Colmore. He started those praise. His uncle sponsored him when he was a teen. And he was so good that he ended up teaching at Notes of Praise when he was still at Queen's College. And the interesting thing is that he used to come from Queen's College, come to Notes of Praise at that time during Eagle Hall, go change his clothes, and then put on another shirt so that when he's teaching persons in their 50s, that could be his grandparents, that they wouldn't wonder why this schoolboy is teaching them. And he did that there for a while, went to University of West Indies, and then he went to Jamaica to study. And when he was done in Jamaica, he was still teaching music lessons. Came out here, taught for a little bit, also at Notes of Praise, and then he is now a qualified lawyer and prominent, and is an excellent musician. And he's one of those persons who has indicated that he's willing to sponsor a child for a year to do music lessons. And we've had another business that indicated that they were donating a guitar, Enterprise Growth Fund, donated a guitar, and also sponsoring a student from one of these selected schools for a couple of terms. So this is something that we want to encourage persons to do. So later on, we are going to put a link for you can indicate your interest in it, but you can also give myself a call or call Notes of Praise, and we'll be able to put you on to a method that we can link you to a person that is in need, and especially at this time, that will need sponsorship. So we will encourage you to do that. At this point, I just want to introduce our moderator. I just want to thank Kamal and Enterprise Growth Fund, and I'm sure over the next couple of days, you will have other persons who have indicated their interest in doing these things as well. At this point, I want to introduce our moderator for this evening, Dr. Cheryl McClean, and she is a lecturer at university. She's going to talk a little bit more about herself as well, but she's also interested in well-being, and she is very qualified to take us on this interesting discussion. And we've had some good times leading up to this session, and it was very, very informative. I didn't know that she would do an exceptional job. So at this point, I just want to turn over to Cheryl.
Good evening, all. Thank you so much for joining us. As we look at the topic of music and mental health, how can playing a musical instrument help? This topic of mental health, when we are discussing it today, I want you to think about your social, psychological, and emotional well-being. Just as we would have to do, or just as we would choose to do physical activity to help and enhance our physical health, so do we have to think about what we need to do to enhance our mental health, right? And it is beautiful that we're looking at the topic of music this evening. Just a little about me. I am actually a student of music and taking flute lessons and enjoying those tremendously. And I am really elated to be able to be on this in this discussion this evening to share with you and hopefully by the end of this session, you would all have deepened your relationship with music. Because I know some people in the audience can remember perhaps playing an instrument as a child or earlier in life, as well as teenage years and listening to music. So we all have a relationship with music, and I hope that we can rekindle if you that relationship if you have not enjoyed music recently, and also introduce you to something new. So I also want you to think about music as being more than a hobby, but really being a strong factor in influencing our mental health and our mental well-being. And in times like these, with the pandemic, which means our routines have changed, we've had to look for new ways to be social, but yet not face-to-face, and new ways to enjoy and experience psychological well-being, different to the old ways. So today we are really discussing music and music in its many forms and the many ways you can experience it, address that said fact. So it is far more than just a hobby. So I'm going to introduce you to our panelists for the evening, and we are going to get started. Please note as we go, if you have any questions that you would like answered, please do put them in the chat. We're going to try our best to answer as many questions as possible this evening. So please do put them in the chat. So our first contributor this evening, Markeeta Thompson, BMT and TAQ, accredited music therapist qualifying. Markeeta received her bachelor's degree in music therapy from Acadia University, Nova Scotia, Canada, in May 2020. She completed a bachelor's in fine arts with the Barbados Community College in 2017. She is a classically trained vocalist, but she is also proficient in piano, guitar, and drums. She has experience working with the following populations: individuals with developmental delays, children, individuals with autism, individuals from the deaf-blind community, geriatrics, hospice, and palliative care facility clients. As a music therapist, Markeeta's goal is to meet clients where they are at and work alongside them to accomplish a variety of client-oriented goals. Our second contributor for the evening, Sheena Strickland, she, her, and BMT and TAQ, accredited music therapist qualifying. Sheena received her associate degree in fine arts for music at the Barbados Community College and went on to complete a bachelor's in music therapy at Acadia University, Nova Scotia, Canada. She is also a classically trained vocalist with a proficiency as well in guitar, piano, and drums. She has experience working with many populations, including individuals with developmental delays, children, geriatric clients, individuals with cognitive and intellectual impairment, and individuals experiencing homelessness. As a music therapist, Sheena works with clients to meet them where they are and use interventions to help them achieve client-oriented goals. So we're going to get started because I know in the audience perhaps the first point or thought on your mind really is, what is music therapy? So Sheena, can we start with you on this question?
Hello, everyone. Yes, I can start with what is music therapy. That is something that a lot of people have been asking, and even it was something that I was wondering as well when I started my profession. And I can give you 2 examples. So I'll give you the...
Okay.
I'll give...
Okay, one moment, Sheena. You are actually muted. Can you?
Okay, is that okay now?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, sorry. So I was just saying that I'll give you the Canadian Association of Music Therapists explanation, and then I'll just give mine, and I'll pass it over to Markeeta and give her take on it. But the Canadian Association of Music Therapists define music therapy as a discipline in which certified music therapists, also called MTAs, use music purposefully within a therapeutic relationship to support the development, health, and well-being of their clients or of our clients. So music therapists use music safely and ethically to address human needs within a cognitive, communicative, emotional, social, physical, spiritual, and musical needs. And I wanted to, personalize it for myself. And I found that when using music in with a client, I use music with the intent to bring about a specific health goal within the sessions that we have. So I usually use music in the intent to bring about these domains and different emotional feelings that come through the session. So when I saw that within my own work, I saw that music really helps with bringing about that within our clients. And I'll just pass it over to Markeeta at this moment.
Hi, everyone. For me, I would define music therapy in my own words as a therapy that uses music as their main drive, their main focus. So just like physiotherapy, you have speech therapy, they're focusing on maybe body movements and their main focus would be on speech and stuff like that. We still address cognitive needs, gross motor skills, needs as it pertains to socialization, stuff like that. All of those things we still do, but our main purpose, our main driven goal behind it is music. So we use music to address those goals.
Okay. And perhaps, Markeeta, you could continue by telling us a bit about how people benefit from music therapy.
There are many different benefits from music therapy. Many people come through music therapy as a relaxation. So they would come just maybe at the end of their day and they're feeling stressed, and this is their safe place. Their place where they can maybe play an instrument, or a place where they can sit down and just sing and feel at ease. Some people come for different goal areas. They have a goal focus driven idea of what they would like to accomplish, or based on an assessment that we do, we would have goals that we would like these individuals to accomplish, whether it be cognitive. So I have worked with children with autism. I've worked with a deafblind community. So there are different goals, cognitive goals, social goals that everyone basically can benefit from music therapy.
Right, yes, because we were speaking about it in therapeutic settings, but what the audience would really perhaps like to start getting a sense of is that exactly how interacting with music can benefit them. Yeah. So would you like to say a bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. Everyone can agree that just playing music bring about a positive change. And I think that's the whole reason that we use music, is to bring about positive change within a client's emotional, physical, and mental state. So I can give you some benefits of both physical and mental, just so that the audience can see how music really helps on a vast majority of things using music. So for the physical, we are focused on improved respiration, and this is for persons within critical care, and we'll go into the populations later on. And we focus on improved respiration, those who are unable to breathe on their own. We use music to, help them build that strength within their voice. It is also there to lower blood pressure, reduce the heart rate of those who may have high blood pressure. And it's also used for pain relaxation, and it's also used to release muscle tension. And this is usually for those who may have gotten in an accident, or they have it's a bit difficult to move their arms in a natural state. So we use music and movement to help them to move their arms in that way. And I mentioned pain management, and it's not just for persons within the hospital, but it's also for persons who are in rehabilitative settings, who have issues or problems with their knees, and like extending that, and just having music along with the movement aspect of it. It really helps to be a positive thing for clients. And then we'll move on to the mental, because it's related to the topic today. So for the mental, we focus on reducing stress. We focus on increased happiness. As I'm sure everyone, when they listen to music, there is this improvement of happiness, and everyone has a smile on their face when they listen to music. Self-reflection is also another one that is a benefit of music therapy, and self-regulation. So with self-regulation, it helps those who are in our sessions develop healthy coping mechanisms to manage their thoughts and their emotions. And it really helps to, and it is a part of the self-reflecting aspect of it, because we uncover what some of the problem areas that led the client to the session, and really understanding why they're feeling this way and how they can work through this, these emotions within music therapy. So I'll pass it over to Markeeta if she wants to add anything else.
Yes, for sure. You might be thinking like these are a lot of different ways that Sheena might have mentioned that can help, but how can we integrate music really to help to bring the two together? So for a situation like stress reduction, one thing that we would use music for is we can play like relaxation songs. We can even have, there's an app called Relax Melodies, where you can sit in a session and choose and create your own relaxation, something that you can listen to before you go to bed, something that if you're like in the middle of like an anxiety attack or something, that that listening to this song might remind you of a calm place or a calm aspect in your life. Also for like anxiety, we work with building confidence, and one intervention that we can do to build confidence is improvisation. I don't know how many people are here who are actually musicians, but musicians can say that to do improvisation, some people it comes naturally, but for some people it can really take time, and it really takes confidence to be bold enough to go outside the box and try things. And really and truly, when we're using improvisation, it is giving the client the opportunity to choose, okay, do I want to play like a similar rhythm here to like the original song or composition, or do I want to do something completely different? Do I want to maybe take turns, if it's in a group, like communicating between the two people, okay, this is my turn, this is your turn. Working on stuff like that. Also working on decision making can work with that, giving them the option of, okay, Would I like to improvise now, or would I like someone else to improvise? Do I want to improvise for like 8 bars or do stuff like that? Cognitive, one activity that I have used for cognitive is something called lyric analysis. And what this means is you choose a song. Most of the times, I'll use an example, say someone that's experiencing PTSD. And what you can do with that, you can choose a song that would be talking about a particular traumatic event. It does not necessarily have to be the same traumatic event that this individual has gone through, because you really, the goal is to help the individual and to not make things worse. So you can choose just any song that is talking about a traumatic event. And what you would do with that song is ask the individual to go through the song line by line and say, like, is there like any line in this song that in this first verse that might reach out to you? Any line that you think that draws you in? As we listen to songs, there are lines that kind of catch us and we're like, oh, okay. So something like that. And what we're really doing that I found that really works is when you draw the individual from the personal issue, we still end up talking about our personal reflections based on the topic. So despite you maybe saying, most of my clients, most of the time they would say, well, I think the author that wrote this song was trying to say this. But technically, that is our own cognitive thought process based on what we were discussing and based on the words there and your interpretation of it. One other one that I use is a filling the blank exercise. This can be used for many different things. This can be used for self-expression. This can be used to build confidence. This can be used for as cognitive as well. And what I do, I would choose a familiar song that the client would know, and I would take out an aspect of it. And what I would do for, say, I'll give an example of a song. The song Memories from Maroon 5. If I take out a portion of the song and then I ask the client to fill in the song based on, like, sometimes I say based on their personal lives, or sometimes if I just want them to feel more comfortable, I would say just write down the first thing that comes to mind. And oftentimes that eases everyone a bit and they feel a lot less stressed, but they always end up talking about something personal because it is us and we're talking about ourselves. So I find that those really help build confidence, like I said, and the other goal areas. So yeah.
You've mentioned lyrical use and improvisation. So how does playing an instrument come into music therapy?
I find that whether you're a musician or not, you find that you're doing, your own personalized sounds or, things to fill into songs that we have, like just normal songs that we do, whether it may be a woo or a yeah, those are all improv because they're not in the song. So there's something that comes personally. So I think with the improvisation, it opens up whoever is in the session, or even those that are into music or that listens to music, an opportunity to express themselves through that. So whether maybe singing, for instance, a very popular one that we use is jazz. Jazz is a very improvisational genre, and we use a lot of scatting and different sounds and maybe some imitation of instruments as well. Like we manipulate the voice to sound like instruments. So just having that within the session, it really opens up the client to just express himself through the improv. And as I turn to the musical instrument, I think it's the same way. Like there is just a number of like the keys and chords and whatever we have to play with. But I know that with like playing piano or even with playing different instruments, we still have that opportunity to express ourselves or how we're feeling within the music or within the setting that we're improving in. And for me, I am a vocalist, but I also, play other instruments as mentioned before. But just having that area, it might seem a bit nervous at first because it's something out of the client's comfort zone, but within that setting, and we have established that it is a safe setting. I've seen or I've noticed that clients open up to improv more, and it kind of draws the client closer to the music therapist in a therapeutic relationship. And it shows that the music therapist is actually trying to, emote a positive setting, and so that the client is able to express himself through this.
Right. So you're saying that whether or not you have experience with instruments, you can still use it in therapy.
Yes.
Okay. Well, perhaps now we should take a little look at a video that Markeeta and Sheena provided us with, a video that is going to look at the effect of playing a musical instrument on the brain. Okay.
Did you know that every time musicians pick up their instruments, there are fireworks going off all over their brain? On the outside, they may look calm and focused, reading the music and making the precise and practiced movements required. But inside their brains, there's a party going on. How do we know this? Well, in the last few decades, neuroscientists have made enormous breakthroughs in understanding how our brains work by monitoring them in real time with instruments like fMRI and PET scanners. When people are hooked up to these machines, tasks such as reading or doing math problems each have corresponding areas of the brain where activity can be observed. But when researchers got the participants to listen to music, they saw fireworks. Multiple areas of their brains were lighting up at once as they processed the sound, took it apart to understand elements like melody and rhythm, and then put it all back together into unified musical experience. And our brains do all this work in the split second between when we first hear the music and when our foot starts to tap along. But when scientists turn from observing the brains of music listeners to those of musicians, the little backyard fireworks became a jubilee. It turns out that while listening to music engages the brain in some pretty interesting activities, playing music is the brain's equivalent of a full-body workout. The neuroscientists saw multiple areas of the brain light up, simultaneously processing different information in intricate, interrelated, and astonishingly fast sequences. But what is it about making music that sets the brain alight? The research is still fairly new, but neuroscientists have a pretty good idea. Playing a musical instrument engages practically every area of the brain at once, especially the visual, auditory, and motor cortices. And as with any other workout, disciplined, structured practice in playing music strengthens those brain functions, allowing us to apply that strength to other activities. The most obvious difference between listening to music and playing it is that the latter requires fine motor skills, which are controlled in both hemispheres of the brain. It also combines the linguistic and mathematical precision in which the left hemisphere is more involved with the novel and creative content that the right excels in. For these reasons, playing music has been found to increase the volume and activity in the brain's corpus callosum, the bridge between the two hemispheres, allowing messages to get across the brain faster and through more diverse routes. This may allow musicians to solve problems more effectively and creatively in both academic and social settings. Because making music also involves crafting and understanding its emotional content and message, musicians often have higher levels of executive function, a category of interlinked tasks that includes planning, strategizing, and attention to detail, and requires simultaneous analysis of both cognitive and emotional aspects. This ability also has an impact on how our memory systems work. And indeed, musicians exhibit enhanced memory functions, creating, storing, and retrieving memories more quickly and efficiently. Studies have found that musicians appear to use their highly connected brains to give each memory multiple tags, such as a conceptual tag, an emotional tag, an audio tag, and a contextual tag, like a good internet search engine. So how do we know that all these benefits are unique to music, as opposed to, say, sports or painting? Or could it be that people who go into music were already smarter to begin with? Neuroscientists have explored these issues, but so far they have found that the artistic and aesthetic aspects of learning to play a musical instrument are different from any other activity studied, including other arts. And several randomized studies of participants who showed the same levels of cognitive function and neural processing at the start found that those who were exposed to a period of music learning showed enhancement in multiple brain areas compared to the others. This recent research about the mental benefits of playing music has advanced our understanding of mental function, revealing the inner rhythms and complex interplay that make up the amazing orchestra of our brain.
Okay, so we've all had a chance to look at that video. Sheena, if we could continue with your comments on, exactly how the benefits to the brain. So the benefits to us, if we choose to play music and use music a bit more in our lives.
Yeah, with the benefits, we really go into like why there are benefits to listening to music. And as you've seen in the video, there's fireworks going on within the brain, but as much as we like to call it fireworks, there's like actually scientific, terminology to this, and they're known as neurotransmitters. So some of the things that are emitted from the brain are serotonin, dopamine, and endorphins. And I'm sure if you have taken psychology or you know of these, you should at least know what they are or have some ideas. But for serotonin, it is when we listen to music, serotonin is released and it helps to stabilize our mood, our feelings, and our well-being. And it also brings about happiness when we listen to music. So that's why when you're listening to music or you're playing an instrument, you find that you're smiling or your mood changes in a positive light because serotonin is released within the brain. Another one that I mentioned is dopamine. Dopamine is released and it enables neurons in your brain to communicate and to control movement. So that is like when you're holding an instrument or even in a session when a client is holding an instrument and they're playing, dopamine is released so that the client is able to grasp the instruments that they have and also give them the opportunity to play the instrument as well. And it doesn't mean that they'll just automatically play it, but it helps them to realize that they actually have, something in their hand and they're able to, move the instrument in the session. And the last one before I turn over to Markeeta, just to explain a bit more of like the benefits and the benefits on the brain, is endorphins. And with endorphins, as it is released, we see that it diminishes the perception of pain. So when persons in a critical care unit are going into surgery, and it might be a painful surgery, you find that doctors use music within the room to make them feel a bit calmer. And it not only makes them calmer, but it reduces their feelings about the pain. So it brings them in a calm state, and it's actually proven that when you use music, it's better to use music than to use medication, because there is no side effects to music. as there might be side effects to medication. So it has been proven, and there have been studies that show that when persons use music or drug or prescribed drugs, they see a better improvement in music than in using prescriptive medication.
Just to remind the audience that if you have any questions, you can feel free to put them in the chat and we are going to address them. Markeeta, with regards to the benefits and the impact of music, in the audience, we would have music teachers, we would potentially have people who supervise people at work, people who work in HR, we would have professional musicians. So how would music help them to better facilitate the needs of their clients? In terms of the brain, for example, how does your work with music transfer or translate into other activities that you're doing? So, understand what I mean?
I think so. How you can integrate music into other aspects of your life?
Well, actually, in terms of brain functioning, so Sheena mentioned in therapeutic settings, but so for example, educational, so a music teacher teaching music to a child, and what would be the benefit for that child in other areas of education, for example.
Okay. Well, for music is this one thing that we all experience around the world. We speak different languages, we have different cultural backgrounds, different religious beliefs, but music is the one thing that can reach individuals no matter what. And music can be taken, you can use music therapy, or as a music teacher or what's not, you can use music to integrate in other areas. In music, we have to read sheet music. Well, some of us do. We read sheet music, we play instruments, and what that is really doing is, it looks so simple, like the video said, but you have to read the sheet music, understand what you're reading. So you have to, it's hand-eye coordination at that point, because you have to be playing the same time you are reading and your brain is processing that information. You're playing at the same time, gross motor as well, because, and yeah, hand-eye coordination. And so that is teaching you other, those goal areas and those aspects that you can apply in different areas of your life. Oh, sorry, just pause for seeing the questions there. So you're able to apply those things in other areas of your life. Another thing that you can do is in terms of like rhythm, where you have, in music, there is time signatures, there's rhythm. So what you can do with that is teaching you, okay, you have to process, I'm playing now, I have to stop for this because it's a rest, and then you continue, stuff like that. That is also teaching you something called impulse control. And what impulse control is the ability to understand that you don't have to be doing something that you want to do all the time. So in music, you play and then there are pauses, but that the pause is also part of the music. So that teaches your brain to understand that, okay, well, I'm playing now, but I am pausing now because there's a rest, and that's also part of the music, and silence is also beautiful. Another thing that it teaches us is turn taking. And we can apply the turn taking from within when we're doing, say, like improvisation, or we're working on, as a music teacher, you're working on, like, we're doing a jazz composition and someone is doing a solo. We all know as musicians, or someone that would now be trying an instrument for the first time, that if someone's doing a solo, then we have to wait our turn. It's not our turn to play, it's their turn to play. So those sort of skills can be applied elsewhere, where, like, say now you're in a setting and where someone is like this doing a presentation, and like, okay, well, that you can apply that to, like, it's a solo kind of thing. And what you can do is that you can say like, okay, it's like a solo, so it's not quite my turn. It's this person's turn, they're presenting. I have to wait, I will listen, and then I would add in my part. So.
Sheena, just to get a bit more in terms of the workplace, so perhaps we also have, I understand that we have some HR specialists also joining us this evening. So how can music be applied at work? So what can they take from music therapy to assist their population, their employees?
Yeah. I'm sure that persons in this conversation, in this panel who are watching, they know that music is everywhere. Whether we think about it or not, we notice that there's music in stores, there's music in like on playing around us. And I find that when music is brought into not only just like a musical setting, but also another setting, it brings about like a calming, it brings about a calm change within that setting. Within a work setting, it also helps. And I know or notice that when having like background music and just having soft music within the workplace, it brings about like a peaceful setting so that persons are able to have a productive day. And music is known, and there are studies that have shown that having music with within a work setting, it brings about a productive energy among the workers that are there. And you have to figure out like this certain level and stuff like that. But within a work setting, I think that persons who may be having a stressful time at their job, just having like a song that really moves you or even makes you feel good, and using that as a result of like stress relief. And maybe you take a time outside and put on a song that really relates to you and really like kind of speaks to the emotions that you're feeling at the moment. Mm-hmm. It really brings about a calmness to you, and whether it may be stressful or even non-stressful, and just having conversations about songs within workplaces and sharing your take on different things and hearing other person's perspective on said song. And it also brings about like a community of growing that relationship within the work setting and the persons that you work around, like from day to day, just having that closer connection, because as we all know, music connects us all. And just having that discussion and using music as a medium to help you through the day, I know that with introducing these things, it really helps with you getting through the day. So that's one thing that I would suggest.
Great. Thank you so much. And that means that those in the audience, in addition to within their work setting, can think about how they can use music for their own self. And the aspects that you mentioned, like stress management, relaxation, etc. In the chat, there's really one question which really is asking about provision of handouts, and also recommended note that if you want to get more information with regards to what we shared today, you in the chat will appear in notes of Quays's email address, and you can always send a message and we will try to provide you with the resource material that you would like. One question here: what musical resources would you recommend for teaching, especially in the area of early childhood Yeah, would you like to take that, or is that something you'd like to provide after?
Most of my experience are working with children, so I would answer that. I would say interactive songs, songs that keep them engaged. What I would say in terms of what I mean by interactive songs, children love familiarity, but what I find with familiarity is you can use a familiar song but slightly alter it, and then it's all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is new. Not really that new, but you can say like even like Twinkle Twinkle Little Stars, changing like Twinkle Twinkle Little, and just changing the rhythm, changing some of the notes, and all of a sudden it's a different it has a different vibe to it, and it feels new to them. I would say interactive songs. Another thing I would say is add-on songs that really helps with cognition and learning. What I mean by add-on songs are songs where you can pause and then it's their turn to input information. So for one of the songs that I do is like Down by the Bay. It's funny for them because you have to find like an animal and then a rhyming word, but it's also working on cognition, right? Because you have to think of an animal and then what word rhymes with this animal. So they don't really realize all of the different components to it, but they're just like, oh, rhyming word, this is funny. But it's a lot more going on in the brain in terms of processing information. Another thing I would say is compositions. I know oftentimes we might say children compositions, how is that going to work? But I have found that regardless of if it's children or individuals on a whole, I have found implementing someone's name into a composition is so much engaging because they feel like I am being heard. My name is here. This person is hearing me, and this is the information that they've given me. And you can also take that composition, especially if it's in a group setting, and make it something interactive. So you can say, okay, I have inputted everyone's information into the song, but now here is the fun part. You have to listen. And when you hear your part, then you're playing an instrument. So shake your instrument or play your instrument as loud as you can. So that encompasses another cognitive part, but also listening and auditory. So it, as you see, is so much that you can grow on and expand and expand and expand, and the goal areas would continue to grow. Another thing I would suggest is using songs or music from someone's culture is very, I find that, and when I say culture, I mean music that someone resonates well with, music that grabs them. I find oftentimes in a session, I would have a client who might be having a bad day, or they might be a little bit distracted, or they're children, so some of them might not even want to be there. But if you can grab them with that song that you know that they relate to, or that song that they're really like, that can really be a tool to get them engaged and like bring back their attention to, oh, okay, here I am and this is happening. So that's just a couple ideas. I also we have, Sheena and I, some more information if you'd like Cheryl said, you can just get in contact with Notes of Praise.
Yeah. You know, I often think sometimes, and from speaking about children, using it with children, that we all too as adults need to embrace our 6-year-old selves. You know, so in that way, it sounds as though you're saying that there are some benefits for adults as well if they will start to interact with music in this way. You know, not everyone might be able to necessarily start playing, but perhaps they can use music a bit more in their lives. Sheena, would you like to tell us a bit about how people can use music a bit more in their lives to benefit their mental health?
Not a problem. And I know that during this time with COVID, just want to address, what's going on around us. And I'm sure that we all are dealing with, different changes from like summer to the beginning of school, having to readjust to, certain things in present moment, and it might be a bit, stressful for adults and children alike. I'm sure that it's stressful for teachers and those who are just working within our world. And it is very important to, focus on how you're feeling in that moment, how you are addressing your emotions in that moment. So I just want to give some, thoughts and suggestions, I would say, on how we can use music within our own lives, because I'm sure that there's persons that are interested in hearing about music therapy, and because it's new, it's like, oh, I don't know what that is, but I'm hoping that after this panel, they are a bit more informative on what music therapy is. But in terms of just having, like, using music within your everyday life, I would say that one of the things that we've mentioned in the panel is having having just a book, just a normal book that you may have around the house, and putting down your emotions. What are you feeling? What is going on? Because sometimes you might be at school and something happens and you're not able to express how you're feeling to persons around you, because I don't know, you might have that, you may think of, there are certain things to not say what you're feeling, but just having a book and writing down your emotions and your feelings, and finding a way to express yourself through that. And if you want to turn it into a song, that is your option. If you want to turn it into something else creative, like a poem, or even like a dramatization piece, whatever that is for you, I find that using that composition aspect to music, and also other forms of, expressing yourself, it really opens up to what you're feeling, and being present and self-reflective, as we've mentioned before, within within that time, and also trying to work out your feelings in the moment. Because sometimes you might want to put away those emotions, but actually writing, how am I feeling? I'm feeling this way. Why am I feeling this way? So just like a self reflective intervention that we use in sessions, but you can also use them outside of sessions as well. And we usually, as music therapists, we use them for, we let our clients know if there's anything that you feel or you have that you want to express, you can take this same intervention outside of music therapy, and we come and talk about it, but it is something that you can use outside of music therapy. Another thing that we mentioned, or we know of, is just having like a relaxation piece. So using common music, I'm sure that persons know, like the beach sounds and different things that you can just turn on, and it's like a calming stream, or a video of a beach or something, whatever piques your interest in the moment, just having that relaxation aspect. And we use active listening and receptive listening as well. And that's where you just sit, you close your eyes, and you just listen. And that was one thing that Markeeta and myself, we was introduced to one of our teachers at school. Before every guitar session or guitar class, he would say, I just want you to sit, be still, close your eyes, and just listen. And at first we were just like, this doesn't make any sense. What's the point of this? But after like 2 weeks, we were actually like excited to sit and listen, because with listening, you're not only stretching the muscles in your ears, but you're being more aware of your surroundings. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that there are persons that may be in a stressful environment, and they're they just want to center themselves, one of the things that I could recommend is finding a place where you feel safe and secure and centered in. Just closing your eyes, making sure that you're, in a comfortable setting, and just listening to what is going around you. I'm sure that there are a lot of sounds going around, like different cars. Just it doesn't have to be like a quiet setting. Just centering yourself and focusing on what's going around. So if you want to take a time to go into Queen's Park and just sit down and literally just stretch your ears to hear the furthest thing that you can hear, and then actually when your eyes are open, look to see where those things are. Because when you actually see how far they are, you're saying, oh, well, this is actually pretty far. And I can't believe that my ears stretched that far. So just like seeing how these things work together, it really helps to ground in yourself, and it actually takes your mind away from what you were stressed about and you're focusing on the present. So I know that is something that we help with persons, whether maybe with dementia or Alzheimer's, helping them to focus on the present and being aware of where they are now. And even outside of that, just helping those who are dealing with mental health difficulties, having them centered on the present, where they are, making sure that they're grounded and having that environment that is safe. It really helps with releasing stress during this time.
For the audience in the chat, what would appear now is a Google Forms, and that form is there. You can fill it out if you would like some more information, and the information will be sent to you afterwards. So just letting you know that there's a link placed in the chat. And Sheena, you actually started to answer a question in the chat, which speaks to music therapy suggestions for working with persons with dementia and Alzheimer's. Is there anything you would like to add on that, Markeeta?
Yes. Sorry. You wanted to finish your, okay.
No, go ahead.
One thing that we really work on with individuals with dementia is reminiscing. We use familiar songs from like their youth, songs that resonate well with them. Even if it's the same song every single session, you do the song, and even if they become like lucid for like a couple seconds, it helps. So you can play like a song, like one of them, Que Sera, Sera, and you can ask them. Honestly, sometimes what I would do is I would ask, do you know this song? And oftentimes they say, no, I have never heard that song. And then you start to sing it, and then you just see like their face light up, and it's just like, yes, I know this song, and they sing along, or you find that they'll share a memory, and or they'll share something that's present. I was in a session with a client, and she was very disoriented, not really sure where she was. And I played a song about flowers. I can't remember what song it was, but I knew she liked this song. And the moment she heard the song, she literally she sat up, and then she looked at me. She said, "It's a beautiful day outside today. It's fall." And I'm like, yes, it is. And we're talking and we're having a conversation about something that's happening in the present. And that's mainly my goal and my go-to. I don't know if for Sheena it's different. I will let Sheena speak about that.
In the times that I've worked with individuals, they are individuals within geriatric care, or even in palliative care, and they have dementia or Alzheimer's. they are sometimes they are not aware of like where they are, and also sometimes the age that they are, because there are sometimes I had a client that they were an adult and they thought that they were 7 years old, and they were saying, well, hi, is my mom coming? Where's my mom? Can I go see her? And as soon as you started to play a song that they reminded them of that time, for instance, like Love Me Tender, Love Me True, like an Elvis Presley song, or even like Beach Boys, something that they're related to, you see not only that their eyes shift, but they're just like, oh, I know this song, and they sing the entire thing. And there's sometimes that they're not able to even like change themselves and like take care of themselves. However, when music is played, it is interesting to see how that change happens so quickly. And then you continue to have that conversation with them and engage them in the time that they are in the present. And then there's sometimes that they go back to the time that they are, they might be young. But just experiencing that, it really helped me to like see why music is so important to not only that population, but other populations that we work with, and seeing how just music in general helps a multitude of different people. And it is it's very special to see in person.
Just to note in the chat, one of your colleagues, someone attending this event has also added a link to a study which discusses the effects of singing. If you're interested, click that link as well. There's another question. The session is being recorded. Do write to notes of this by email if you to discuss the availability of that recording. Actually, yes, just looking at the chat, it will actually be made available on Notes of Praise Facebook and YouTube channel. So for the individuals who are interested, and as someone mentioned, for someone who sadly missed this session, they will be able to access it there. There was actually a comment in the chat as well. The individual had indicated they're actually more of a singer than a musician. And I know we had a brief discussion on that before the panel. And what would be the benefits of singing in the shower for some individuals who are listening? So improvising, singing as they, go about their day.
Sheena, are you gonna?
I will. I was just waiting. But yeah, there's something about the acoustics of the shower that is like, I don't know, but I don't know if there's like a scientific thing to singing in the shower. I can get back to those who are interested in, but I know for sure that, or I think that when we are in the shower, there is that sense of safety. Yes, that's one, but also confidence kind of grows because you're with yourself or you're alone in that space, and you, in your mind, you're just like, no one's listening to me. I can sing as loud as I can and it's all fine. And I think it boosts confidence in that way, and you're able to really express yourself as loud as you can, and you find that you build that self-confidence in expressing yourself, and you realize that it's just often that you're engaging in a song that you like, and you're throwing it out against the shower walls, and you're just because that's the only thing that you're seeing. So it's not like you're seeing persons in front of you. So I think just having that like security of the four or the walls in your shower and in the bathroom that you're in, I think it's just having that security and that safety, and it really brings you to, you know, express yourself through that.
Yes, and to add to that, if you are feeling like not confident in your voice, here is a place to do it. For me, if I am in the shower, I feel, and I'm singing in the shower, I feel confident. I feel like I'm on stage performing. It's like it's something about the acoustics there, but it can be used to help build confidence, and you're in a safe space, your home. So should be away from any like judgment and stuff like that that you might feel in the presence of others. So I definitely say that could be a starting point if you're feeling shy to build confidence.
There's another question in the chat. Is learning an instrument a technique used with at-risk children in Canada?
Yes, I would say yes, because the reason that Markeeta paused is because I work with I worked with persons or children in lower income communities, so they don't get the option to, you know, have like sessions and different things like that. So in my internship, I was there to really help them through music therapy and giving them the option to have a music instrument. And I find that even outside of that, with at-risk kids, they really turn their attention and their focus to the instrument that is in front of them, and I'm sure that there's a determination to really, you know, get this instrument learned, and it is something to help them. I'm using the word express, but usually when we're in sessions or we're on stage or even singing in the shower, we're expressing ourselves. Everything is an expression when it comes to music. And not only that, but it also helps children at risk to open up themselves to those who are, you know, either teaching a session or even or teaching them how to play an instrument or even in a session. And you really get to see like why they are in the place that they're in, and it kind of builds that therapeutic relationship between the therapist and the client, where the client see that there's a person that wants to help them, that is there to really put their focus on them in that time. And with that, we ask like different questions and really get to the root of their emotion or emotions that they have experienced in the past or they have felt in the past, and really asking like, okay, so you played this note in like this way, why is that? And just have them explain why. But you find that when they're explaining why, they're actually explaining why, because they're explaining what emotion that is related to. So they're saying, oh, well, I was angry. So why were you angry? And then they'll say, I was angry because. And as soon as they say because, they're more susceptible to actually say what it is that they're feeling, what it is that their emotions that are going through them as they're playing the instrument, maybe frustration, maybe self-doubt, like low self-esteem, stuff like that. So I find that with teaching those individuals how to play instrument, you're not only playing an instrument, and yes, it helps to open their minds to be more you know, it goes towards their cognitive development, but more on the emotional side and the mental side of explaining or uncovering why it is that they're experiencing these emotions related to playing an instrument.
So we are going to be wrapping up in a few minutes. If there are any other questions you would like to ask, you can place them in the chat. A very interesting comment in the chat: learning an instrument should be part of all children's education. The effects and results are priceless and should be an integral part of a child's education. And some agree on that. And I'm sure we here and the two presenters as well would perhaps agree. Yes, yeah.
Oh, yes.
So remember, there is the scholarship fund that is being, if you'd like to contribute to that, the Notes of Praise Scholarship Fund, where you can fill out that Google form and Notes of Praise will contact you. If you'd like further information on what we've been discussing, because hopefully everyone has been able to so far identify a way that they can connect more with music. Remember that you can send an email as well to Notes of Praise, and we will facilitate and provide you with more information. And so what I'm going to do is to ask the two presenters to really tell us, what are some of the takeaways or things that you would like the audience to leave with this evening.
Okay, I can go first. I can
yes,
go first. One thing I would say is that you can use music anywhere and in any form. And one thing we kind of touched on that I wanted to just kind of cement is using music at home, outside of music therapy as well. You can use pre-recorded music. Sheena was talking about emotions. You can create a playlist. And what I mean by create a playlist is you can create a playlist of emotions. So you might be having a bad day and you have this playlist that you name happy or something like that. And these are songs that when you listen to them, your mood is gonna automatically change. So you're using that to help boost how you are feeling. You might be having, like I said, the worst day ever, or you could be having a good day and you just want some extra excitement. You can do that. You can name a playlist that, like say you're going through grief or something like that, a playlist that you think would be helpful in that moment, that listening to reassuring songs, songs that might bring you a bit of comfort or peace. So you can pick as much emotions as you would like and just have a playlist for each of them. And I find that would be something that would be helpful as a tool to take away at home.
And Sheena?
Yeah, so I'm sure that everyone have heard us say that music really helps all of us in every single way, and we've explained like the musical aspect of it, but we've also included why and how. So those who have seen the video, you see that there's not just it's not just listening to music. There's a psychological aspect to listening to music. And I'm sure that I hope that those who were here and saw the video and get to watch it later on, you actually see that there's a lot of science related to music and using music within the schools, using music within your household, using music within sessions at work, in your own personal lives, but using music as to bring about a positive outcome. And I know that, we've seen in our sessions that it not only help persons who are able-bodied, but also persons that are that have developmental disabilities, persons with autism or on the spectrum, Alzheimer's and dementia, persons in critical care. And these are just some of the populations that we've worked with, and just seeing that when we use music in these areas, it has brought about positive change and a positive, and even in the psychiatric setting, as one of the commenters mentioned, I've worked in a rehabilitation center, and seeing that improvement and that light that turns on when they're listening to a song that they know, it kind of brings them back to the present. And that is what music does. It brings all of us, whoever's listening, to the present. And it really opens up what we are all feeling inside and addresses that. And it also not only addresses that, but it makes you feel like you're safe. Music makes us feel safe. Music makes us feel secure in the setting that we are in. So one thing that I hope that you take away is that there is a deeper thing, a deeper meaning and explanation to why music is used within schools, in households, in our sessions in music therapy, as that is our profession, and that music is awesome.
Well, thank you so much. I'm sure the audience is feeling your emotion with regards to that. As a way to ensure that we included everyone tonight, there are some polls that we'd like you to answer. So in that way, everyone got a chance to participate. So some polls will come up, and if you can please answer the questions. So we are looking at, what is your experience with playing a musical instrument? What aspect of music have you used in the last month? And also, to what extent has engaging in musical activities benefited you? So you can go ahead and start answering those questions. Okay. Right, so just giving you a few more moments to add your clip.
Are there any other questions as we wait?
Right, there actually is one question that has been added to the chat. Do specific pitches have different effects?
I know that Markeeta has worked with vibroacoustics with some of her clients, so I'll take it over to her.
Yes, I work with the deafblind community, and one of the things, like Sheena explained, vibroacoustics, and I know anyone right now would probably be like deafblind, and I do this over Zoom, so it's like deafblind community working with music over Zoom. How does that happen? But vibroacoustics, there are like some instruments, or like, not, I don't know if you really call it an instrument. There's an equipment that you can use where the individual can feel the vibrations of the music. So you're playing this music and they are basically feeling the music going through their body. There are vibroacoustic chairs that they can like sit in, and they're experiencing this as not obviously like a sound process going through the air, but it is something that they feel within their body. They're feeling the rhythm, they're feeling the beat. Also, what I do is frequency, so you can see like the sound waves as well as feel the vibrations within your body. So that's how I would use that in sessions. There are like paddle boards and stuff like that that you can put. I have done in a session where the client puts the paddle board over a certain color or over a certain spot, and they can, like, it causes the vibrations within the chair, stuff like that. Different pitches, some of them using like the solfege scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, and la, ti, do going up. Different pitches, and they can be able to experience those through the vibrations. Yes. I think there is one more question though about autism.
Oh, yes. Yeah, how would you use music to help children under 5 years old with autism? Sheena,
Go ahead. Sure. I haven't worked with a lot of autistic children, but I find that using music with autistic children under 5 or even over 5, it really they're really connected to it, and you see that when they're playing instruments, whether it may be two instruments there that can be hit together, they are, you see a positive, their positive change in their emotion, and they're interested in hitting it, and they look to you for reassurance, just to say, well, am I doing it right, but hey, are you helping me along with it? And yeah, but I know that using music and even with instruments, using that along as well, it really helps in autistic children under the age of 5.
Markeeta, is there something you wanted to add to that?
Yes, sure. Most of my internship and practice has been with children with autism. So I would say that yes, you can use music definitely to help children with autism. One of the main things I use the music to help with is social interaction. What I would do to engage with the client, I would, like I said earlier, put their names in the song. And one thing that I find that really grabs their attention and their focus is creating a song on the fly or in the moment about what they're doing. Like when you find that they might seem distracted or that they might not be listening, music always grabs them. I find like they seem to like music a lot. I would play, like, say I have a client that's walking around the room because they have a sensitivity to light and it's a new room, so they have to adjust to that situation. I would say, we'll call him Peter. I would say, Peter is walking around the room, and I would make a sound out of it, and I'll even make it according to like how fast they're walking, just letting them know that I recognize that this might be a process that you're like, you're trying to adjust to this new space, and I'm with you, and yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So we are going to share the results of the polls. And the first one, what is your experience with playing a musical instrument? So quite a few people have, just over 60%. Either currently play or used to play, and 37% never played. So perhaps they'll get more information today with regards to how that can be beneficial. Second question, what aspect of music have you used within the last month? So how have you integrated music in your life? Singing at 60%, so quite a lot of those who answered have been using it to sing, and sure, listening to music. Moving to music as well in terms of dancing. Just about half of those who responded. Playing an instrument, just about a quarter, and free improvisation. So most of us have used music within the last month. Just about 2% have not, but perhaps from our discussion this evening, you can think of a way that you can integrate music into your life. And the third question, how does your musical activity make you feel? Inspired, happy, relaxed, contemplative, more focused, and the highest score for relaxed. So definitely as a stress, as a stress management factor, a stress management relaxation technique for many. Yeah, and this last poll actually speaks to mental health benefits. And I so thank you for joining us this evening, and thank you so much, Sheena and Markeeta. It has been such a pleasure speaking with you again. And I am going to turn over to Phyllis Gemma, the Managing Director of Notes of Praise Music School, to wrap up for us this evening with the vote of thanks. So do have a good night for me personally.
good night. I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you all for coming. We've had a very, very interesting and exciting, and it stretches us. So I just want to thank first, I want to thank Cheryl for doing an exceptional job. And I know this is her heart. This is her heart. So when it is, sometimes you have to sell persons things, but when I came to talk to Cheryl about this, it was in her sweet spot, and she did an exceptional job. And I know this is the first of many things that this year that we will be doing together. And just want to thank Sheena and Markeeta, because we are proud of them as Barbadian people who are gone overseas and making their mark, and we're looking forward, and I'm emphasizing that time when they come back to Barbados, although we are working out something. So I'm just encouraging y'all, because we are going to do some follow-up sessions on some other things dealing with music therapy. So make sure you click the Google link there so that we can get, I just want everybody to put their information in, so then that we will know which areas that you are interested in, whether or not it would be learning more about music therapy and any of the sessions. Of course, I'll encourage those persons who haven't learned to play an instrument as yet. We saw the benefits of playing an instrument, that you're going to encourage you to join us. And at Notes of Praise, classes are beginning next week. So it is time for you to join. You can either email us at notesofpraise@caribsurf.com, or check our website, notesofpraise.com, or our number 2438512. So you can touch base with us on that there. I just also want to thank Notes of Praise, the admin section, who have been working behind the scenes, Joshua Corbin, Naisha White, Joshua Jamat, Lisa Jamat, to make sure that everything runs smoothly behind the scenes and make sure everything was done well. Some of you might have come in late. So earlier we launched Notes of Praise Scholarship Fund, and this is a way that if you want to sponsor a child or an adult, and interesting enough, Notes of Praise have been stretching the other thing in ways that we have some have persons who are visually impaired. So we are stretching it. So I just want to encourage you to give us an opportunity and see if we are able to work in which situation we are in. And once we can do it, we will stretch ourselves in that way. And as I tell persons, if we can teach a visually impaired person on Zoom and another lady in her 80s on Zoom, I don't think that anybody has any excuse or any reason why they shouldn't participate. And I'm encouraging persons who do drums as well, that do not let the fact that you're not face-to-face stop you from taking the opportunity to do drums as well. I just want to thank the person who sponsored, that would have been with the scholarship, Kamal Collmore and Enterprise Growth Fund. They have agreed to sponsor students. So we just want to encourage persons, if you're interested in that area, you may not necessarily want to do it, but you know the benefit of persons learning a musical instrument, you can indicate it, and we will make sure that we link you up to a person who is in need. And there are a lot of persons at this time. We want to thank South Power Graphics, Bajan Things, Nation Newspaper, Starcom, for the work that they have done. And I just want to say that music enhances everything. And we, as Caribbean people, I say that we do music uniquely. And music enhances everything we do. So I believe that this is an area that should be almost compulsory for every child and adult to get involved in music, because that is something that we have a competitive advantage worldwide. And I know from this session, we are going to be looking at Sheena and Markeeta. I think this is something we as West Indian people will show our uniqueness, both in the way we play music and also in pushing how we can use music therapy to take persons from where they are on to the next level. So I just want to thank you, the audience, especially for coming in and sharing us in so many ways. I know that there have been a lot of insight for you and you have shared with us. And I know that this conversation is not going to finish tonight. I know that this conversation is going to continue, so feel free. We're going to put the link on once everything is completed on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, so you can join the conversation there. And we know that we will be in touch very, very soon about the next event around this area, because music and mental health, that is almost something that it is critical more and more in this time. Music and your mental health is critical. So that is something that we can use music. So I just want to thank you again for coming. I won't be able to say get home safe, because most of them y'all should be at home. But those who have to move, just be safe outside and take care, and may God continue to richly bless you. And feel free to leave some. You can take off unmute your mics if you want to say something quickly. Don't worry, it's going to be a lot of noise and confusion. We don't mind it at this point. Or if you want to put something in the chat, you are free to do that there, and you are free to go. Thank you very, very much for coming and attending, and may God continue to bless you all.